Hi, I'm Josie.
Hi, I'm Vicky, and we're taking finding hobbies and existing outside of work little by slowly. Cool. Did you want to
Cool.
start off?
Yeah, I think this topic definitely came to mind, and we talked a little bit in our intro, where in adulthood we have to find ways to exist outside of work and be more than work because we just aren't our job.
Yeah.
And the idea of this came behind when thinking about the way we introduced ourselves, because folks often introduce themselves by saying like, "Oh, my name is this, and this is what I do for a living," or people are so quick to ask like, "What is it that you do?"
Yeah.
Yes. Um, and I truly believe that we exist so much more outside of that. But it's also like it's harder to find what you exist as outside of work, outside of school. Because in school you're forced to have hobbies. You're forced to have like these
Mm.
extracurriculars and stuff like that. And in our adulthood we have to go out of our way to get that.
You know, what just occurred to me while you were talking
Huh.
is that I don't know what your extracurriculars were when you were like in grammar school or high school. And I wonder if they have any influence on like what you're interested in today. Like, do we end up trying to not necessarily regress, but like tap back into those things that we were interested in? Or were your
Ooh.
like extracurriculars when you were younger more like obligatory? Like someone told you to join that club?
Mine were definitely more obligatory because mine were very sports related,
Mm.
basketball, soccer. But I always wanted to do like more like artsy type of stuff.
Okay.
And I think that's what I leaned towards more in my adulthood or try to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You?
Similar-ish. My parents are really big into sports. My dad played football, basketball, softball, rugby. Like, think of a sport, he played it. And my mom was very into basketball and softball. So they wanted me and my older sister and I to get into sports. Neither of us did that. Um, my older sister is very into like science and like that kind of thing. And I'm very interested in arts. So that's what I ended up doing.
Mm.
I think in like grammar school, I was doing sports. So I played basketball and volleyball and soccer.
Mhm.
But once I got into high school, I feel like I had a little bit more like choice.
Yeah.
So I was in like every art program that you can think of. If you're from Chicago, which we are both currently in Chicago,
I was
I'm
about to say, don't say I'm from.
right. I kind of was. Sometimes I forget that she's not from Chicago just because she's lived here for so long, but I'm from Chicago. But there's like a couple like outside of school like art programs that everybody knows, like Marwin and After School Matters. So when I was in high school, I did Marwin, and then I did like all the other like art stuff that you can think of that was attached to my actual high school. So yeah.
Mm. Very cool. Um, let's see.
Oh, and Model UN. No, yeah.
I thought that was just like a TV thing. I didn't
No,
think that was real.
no. I did Model UN with my high school, and they like I traveled with my high school too. I went
Yeah.
2 times to San Antonio, Texas, to debate Model UN. Very nerdy.
That's
Did it
so
with my friend. It was a lot of fun.
That's so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
No, for me in high school, definitely I did like soccer and basketball. Well, soccer on a team outside of school because I was never gonna try out for school. I wasn't that interested. So I did that, and then um, I joined like for like my electives. I would do like little Photoshop classes and stuff like that, or art related classes if I
Mm-hmm.
could. Um, and then, ooh, so I went to high school in Nevada, and I also went to high school in Virginia. And a big one out there was Young Life. It was just a church activity. It was a church activity. I do not identify with that portion of my life anymore. And we would do that. We would go to Chick-fil-A afterwards on Thursdays. But that's where everybody went to go hang out after school, and that's how you
Mm,
made friends.
that's
So,
funny.
yeah. um,
I think something really interesting to note about that is that when we met in college, you worked at that center. What was it called?
University ministry.
The university ministry. And because she worked there, everyone thought that she was incredibly religious. So we would try to tailor things around and be very like like not cautious, but like
Mindful.
mindful, yeah, about like her religious beliefs. And then like one day we decided to like actually ask her, and she was like, "Yeah,
I just worked
no,
there.
yeah." And that was one of the funniest things. And yeah,
I just worked there, but I did a lot of stuff with them there
yeah,
because I
she did.
would
Yeah.
because they had a lot of volunteer
Mm-hmm.
opportunities.
Yeah, and we do. That was something that we bonded over.
Yeah,
Initially was like our love for volunteering and like giving back and community work.
in the Vincentian mission.
Yeah, and the Vincentian
Mission.
mission. I know we didn't name it before, but we went to DePaul University in Chicago for undergrad. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I think now thinking about like the hobbies that I hold, or even like in high school. So my brother's main hobby. My dad goes up to my brother and goes, "What's your hobby?" And my brother goes, "He was watching a movie on Netflix." And my brother goes, "This is my hobby."
Why
And
did was your dad like fed up with him watching Netflix? Why did he ask him?
because my brother doesn't do sports, and my dad
Oh,
views like sports as like a hobby.
okay.
And I feel like most recently, like I was talking to a friend and I was like, yeah, I don't really know what my hobbies are. And he goes, movies. And
Yeah.
I don't know why I've never seen movies as like a hobby.
Because you're not a film bro who is obsessed with themselves.
Yeah. I'm not a movie snob,
Yeah.
but I do love the movies. Like that is one of my favorite
Mm-hmm.
activities to do. Like I have 2 movie subscriptions. Like nobody can stop me. I'm at the movies once a week.
Yeah.
I've seen it all, but not just like in a Netflix and chill kind of way. Like I like going to the theater.
Yes.
Yes.
That is the I talk to people all the time about my love for going to the theater. I think not that I love that more than actually like seeing the movie, but I love the act of going to the theater. Like
Mm-hmm.
getting your popcorn and your slushy and like communally watching something with a bunch of people and then like hearing their
Yes.
reactions when something happens. I love like going to the
Yeah,
movies.
going to the movies and
Yeah.
then just being able to talk about it, but not like in a book club, movie club
Hmm.
type of way. Just like in a sharing that moment in space with
Yeah.
somebody. But I think other but in that conversation, I was really thinking about like
Mhm.
what are my hobbies
Okay.
now. Movies aside, what are my hobbies?
Yeah.
What are your hobbies?
I think something that I talked about in last episode was bird watching.
Mm,
That is one of my hobbies. I strive to get out of the house more.
yes.
And I don't know, I just kind of like fell in love with bird watching. The like act of like going outside and then also like sitting there and like taking a pause and like listening to the sounds around you.
Mm,
And then being able to like identify what that sound is and what it looks like, that kind of thing. So yeah.
yeah.
Um, and another one of my hobbies is reading. There's another thing that I
Mm,
mentioned before. I really love reading. Um, I think that I don't think I know. I One of my big hobbies when I was in high school and undergrad was painting and drawing, and photography. I have since abandoned all 3 of those hobbies because they became very exhausting. I think something that we've talked about in the past was monetizing your hobbies and how that can turn a
mm,
hobby into something that isn't enjoyable. And that's what I ended up doing. I use photography as a side hustle, and I would like print out my paintings as prints and try to sell them just to make a little extra money in college. um and it just became like,
work.
yeah, it became work, so I stopped wanting to do it. I have since like tried to get back
Yeah.
into it with like I had a series of like digital collages that I did, but it hasn't stuck. And I'm wondering if it's like one of those things where you have something you're excited about for a little and then like just kind of in the
A little
wind.
phase.
Yeah.
Maybe you could try to like not like force yourself, but like give yourself each day like 10 minutes to like be creative.
Yeah,
And I think just the act of doing it, like you have to keep doing it until you find the inspiration and will to do it again.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's something that you truly want to revisit.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not sure that I do.
Mm.
I think it's something that
Old
I
news.
yeah. I think it's a skill that I have. Like I can still draw pretty decently. I can still paint in both oil and acrylic.
Mhm.
Not so much watercolor. I feel like my watercolor is like eh. And I'm still a pretty decent photographer, both analog and digital. And maybe those are just like skills that I have and that
Yeah.
are just like off to the wayside. Yeah. Do you have any
Yeah.
like hobbies or like skills that you feel like you've just kind of left? Like, did you get like really good at soccer or something?
No, I never got really good at soccer. That was a conversation in our family pretty often. I was never really good at soccer. I think the only thing that like I really left behind was like running.
Okay.
But again, that's something. Oh, that was one of those things where like a year ago I told myself I want to get back into it, and every time I would try to get back into it, I just couldn't until like one week I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make myself go outside
Mm.
and like just like run at least like once a week or at least walk around.
Hmm.
And the more I did it, the more I found like, okay, I enjoy this again.
Yeah.
Um and I definitely enjoy it. And I've recently started like running more outside of like my park, and I'll run around like to like a different like area. Like the other day I ran like 4 miles, and that took me from like my home to like another, from like the Damon Pink line to like the Ashland Orange line.
Nice.
Basically, I ran there and back, and I was like, okay, I got to explore something new today. Not It's not much; it's just a highway, but I got to
Yeah.
explore something new. And I think to your point of like monetizing like hobbies,
Hmm.
I mentioned in the previous episode that I like to make like flower bouquets.
Mm.
Um, and I've had people ask me like, "Oh, would you just like sell these? Like, you can make this?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No. I have so much joy making it, and even now, I have so much joy making it. I used to make them like weekly, and now it's more like monthly because I'm kind of like I want to do it when I want to do it."
Yeah.
And I think right now I'm still trying to get to know myself and figure out what hobbies I
Mm.
want to continue having
Yeah.
and what I want. Of course, my hobbies don't have to define me, but I want something more to say for myself than to say, "Hi, my name is Jocelyn and I work in insurance." Like,
Yeah.
I want something so much more than that because that's not me.
That's true.
Yeah.
And same. Like I think, hi, my name is Victoria and I work in a nonprofit. Like,
No.
no.
No, we do not exist to work.
And I think that's a lot of like unlearning things that we've been told. Like your
Mhm.
career and your like job are things that should like define you and should
Mhm.
be like what you're passionate about. And sometimes work is just money.
Yeah, and don't believe it when people tell you. Don't believe when people tell you if you find a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's
Like, what
very
is that?
untrue.
What is that?
Yeah, because I personally love the work I do, but every day it's going to a job.
It's going to a
It's
job.
it's it's work. Um and sometimes I don't want to do it even if I love it.
Hmm.
So, they're lying.
I'm definitely excited to just kind of see what else other new hobbies I can try. I know, like for me, I tried a pottery class recently, and I want to try more hands on things. I just need to get out and do it. And even this is a hobby.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There are like a specific amount of like I guess like skills that you have to develop in order to
yeah,
like do this. So, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. I was gonna say very quickly that we took like a ceramics class together, and I also want to get back into ceramics.
Yes.
I recently have started drinking matcha, and I like got like the little like bowl and the whisk and the sifter and everything. And I've been like really consistent with it because sometimes I'll like buy stuff and then never use it again. But I've been very
Mm.
consistent with it. And I really want to make myself like my own matcha set or like at least like a little like handleless mug or something. So
Ooh.
maybe that's something that we can plan together and that could be cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay. But I think this was nice. I think we like delved into some of our hobbies and like
Yeah.
set goals for ourselves in the future, because I agree, although I didn't say it, I also want to find more hobbies, because I feel like, not that mine are boring, but I just want to try something new.
No.
Yeah.
Stimulate our minds.
Yeah.
Life is too long. We're gonna live until at least we're 100.
Oh wow.
Yeah, at least.
At least.
So we got like, I can't do quick math, right? Like 70 years to go. We have to find ways to fill up that time.
I don't know about you, but I hope to tap out at like 80.
Okay, 50.
50.
50, 40 years.